All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Soccer season getting down to the final 6 days, winding down. So I'm gonna ramp up my interviews. I get a couple coaches on to recap their wonderful seasons. First up, I got Brick Memorial Mustangs head coach Billy Caruso. Coach, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So you just completed year 28 as the H head coach?
Yeah, year 28.
Now your team had a very good season, compared to where you were 2 seasons ago. And when we talked last year before the season, you said the trend was going to start going up. You felt you had a good core of young kids, and it's starting to, it's paying off huge. Well, I guess we'll just start with the state game right now.
Okay.
I think
right to it, right?
Yeah, no team deserves to lose in a shootout, I think, at their last game of the season. Now, I saw some of the game, and, your team played very, very well, controlled majority of the game. Most people there agree with that. Just talk like the emotion, throughout the game, and then, of course, we could touch on the emotion after the game ended.
Yeah. First of all, I didn't know until I read NJ.com that night when I got home that we shot them to 20-3. I had no idea it was that much of a parody. So, I felt good. Obviously, Mia scored 3 minutes into the game. We were playing well. I felt we're overtime. We dominated. We were playing our best soccer at the time. And, I wasn't really worried, to be honest, until then, like, as the game starts to go on, and then you're in overtime, and you're like, okay, is this actually, it happened to us once before. In 2005, we were the number one team in the nation, going for our fourth straight state championship, and we actually outshot a team. We outshot Middletown North 21-4, ended up losing 2-1. So, unfortunately, I'm familiar with it. Soccer's a cool game, and
yep.
You go over in your head, like, what could I have done wrong? And, like, if I made a change, we would have outshot them 25-3. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I could have done different. The girls played their heart out. It hurt. It definitely hurt. I can have a little bit of perspective now. If you interviewed me last week, I think I would have been all bitter and angry, but, we played our heart out. There's nothing else we can do. Sometimes soccer is a cool sport. And to take nothing away, their goalie was fantastic.
Yeah, I heard that goalie made a crazy save in PKs.
Yeah, they are a good team, and and I don't want to sound bitter, but we were feeling really good and feeling really confident heading to that game, and soccer's a cool sport sometimes. And all that being said, we have to be better in the final third. As great as our goalie played, we're putting 20 shots on net. We have to be better in the final third, and the hard part though is we're a team that finishes. Like we have kids 15 goals, 18 goals, 7 goals, and we never blew a team out. Yeah. I think the 4-0 first round of the state was our biggest margin of victory. So we're a team that's finishing. So it's not like in the back of your head, you had those seasons like we had 2 years ago where you don't finish.
Yeah.
And you're like, we kind of deserve this. We're a team that hasn't finished all year, but we were finishing, we were playing well, and it was heartbreaking. I don't know how to describe it. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and you posted that, tweet about, tears right now, but, and that's one reason I love high school sports, especially, I see, soccer players that I wouldn't expect to be crying after a tough state loss or crying on the sideline, seniors, ended it. So, I could imagine, that bus ride home.
The tears are what make it great. Like as high as it's a high, and that same low, it's because you care so much. It's because there's so much emotion into it. And, I say all the time, the part I hate most about my job is peeling kids up off the ground after their season ends. And but honestly, we haven't been doing that for the last 6-7 years. We've been incredibly mediocre. And so to feel hurt is an honor. And, it's kind of like we earned getting our heart broken. And I talked to the kids about yesterday's, probably the second saddest day of the year is uniform collection. And I talked to the kids about coming back. Like when we went on our run in the glory years, like we had heartbreak and we had, we cried before we climbed the mountain. So hopefully this is a sign of something to come that, we're going to suffer and have our heartbreak and good things are on the horizon.
If I could ask, what was the message to your team on that bus ride home?
There was no message. We all sat in silence. There was no message. No matter what I said, they wouldn't have heard me. And even in the locker room, I tried to put a spin on it. What a good year we had, but I know they weren't listening. I wasn't listening to me. Why would they? So, and even when we had yesterday, it's like I'm still not going to try to put a positive spin on it. The cut's still, the wound's still too new. At the banquet, I'll give us perspective and realize I'm the adult. So I use that term loosely, but I'm starting to realize now the hurt's going away a little bit, and how we saved Brick Roll Soccer. We've been 100% irrelevant for the past 10, 12 years. Mm-hmm. And these girls stepped up. And if nothing else, we didn't win a championship year, but people talked about Brick Roll Soccer again. And in our school, there was a little bit of buzz. And our alumni was awesome. They were coming to games with their children.
You had very good crowds at a lot of your home games that I was at.
This team made soccer awesome again at Brick Memorial. I can't thank them enough. For a guy that dedicated to something, being mediocre and irrelevant hurts a lot, personally. And these girls, for themselves and for us and for me selfishly, they made this important again, and I can't thank them enough for that. And so I guess I am getting there. I'm getting there. It was a good season.
Now, before the season started, what was the message you gave to the team? Goal oriented, and
this year's different. This year's different. We're not just struggling. We're not happy to be there. You paid your dues. We won 2 games 2 years ago, and then won 5 last year. So, we struggled, and the tone was now's the time to step up. Now's the time to do things. And I kind of sent a message that this was their best opportunity of winning a championship. That was a little bit of coach talk. Just trying to get the best out of them at that moment. And it was a great opportunity, but I know we'll talk about it a little bit, but we have a lot coming back in there. But it was definitely things are different, this girls, and I'm going to be harder on you because our expectations are higher, and it was, and the girls bought right into it.
Now, to start the season, your team was dealt with an injury blow with Olivia Carney, who last year I had her on one of the All-Shore teams, so that's a key piece to lose. What did you have to adjust, because Olivia plays mostly up top, good goal scorer. What adjustments did you have to make before the season started?
Yeah, well, right off the bat, Olivia was really our only returning true goal scorer. Matt kind of handful. Izzy played in the midfield last year. Although Izzy did a great job this year scoring goals. We hoped that, but we didn't know that. Yeah. So originally, I was going to put my daughter Lexi in the back, and then try to kind of fit her into there and see where that would work out. And then when Olivia got hurt, we needed more numbers up top, so I moved her up top. And then it also allowed us – Olivia is more of a stationary target type of player. We changed our whole kind of format, how we're going to play up top. And with Izzy and Mac and Lexi and Chloe, we had great movement. And it probably ended up working out better. We had a lot of movement, and when they asked me who's going to play in the middle, my answer was nobody, everybody. Yeah. And we created a lot of movement, which I think created a lot of difficulty. And if Liv is there, I don't know if we're so quick to go to that movement, but the girls together, I don't know, they played really well together, and it was a different dynamic without Liv being there.
You brought up Izzy, she finished with 15 goals this season, I think 10 assists. Even the goals she wasn't scoring, she was involved in. And a lot of her goals were meaning, like you said, you didn't beat teams 4 or 5-0. All her goals were meaningful goals. Her senior year, her stepping up into that big role, becoming the team leader as a goal scorer. What did that mean to the team? Huge. There's no special season this year without Izzy. Izzy stepped up big time. Like I said, she scored big goals. She was our leader, and you couldn't, as much as you hoped, like I said, you're going to score, you couldn't predict 15 and 10. And she just did a phenomenal job. I know people might say I'm biased because I went to so many of your games this season, but I think she needs to be considered a Shore Player of the Year just because all her goals were impactful compared to some other players who, they get 3 goals in a game. That's 5-6-0. Yeah. But that's just my opinion.
I agree 100%.
I want to talk your daughter, Lexi and, Mia, they had very good seasons. Lexi, more a goal scorer, Mia setting everything up. That one state game, they had the great, Mia had the good pass to Lexi to finish off. What do you expect going forward with your daughters?
I expect them to obviously keep getting better, and it's a unique, wonderful / difficult / situation. Like it's not easy coaching daughters. I coached a club team, and it was different. We're all the same age, So I to be honest with you, I'm obviously harder on them. I think my first sub every game in the midfield's Mia. My first sub is always Lexi, and just because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
If I'm going to pull a kid out, I'm not sure I'm taking my daughter out. So, whether that's fair or not, it probably isn't. But, like I said, I appreciate this very greatly that I get to coach my kids. My son, I help out with the boys team. My son's in the boys team. It's really special. And, I know this is 100% not normal, and normal people don't talk like this. When we found out we were having twins, it was a surprise. And my wife's jaw fell to the floor. And my first thought was like, wow, can you imagine if someday they play for Brick Memorial and we can win a championship together? That was honestly my first thought when we had twins.
That's
so,
great.
I prefaced with that. I know normal people don't think that way, but I used to read my wife articles like when she was pregnant. I'd read her articles about the team and things like that. And so it's special. And, I'm glad they had a successful season, but they're just a small part of our success this year. We have a bunch of great kids on this team.
Yeah. Hang on, I gotta pull up your roster. Get all your seniors. So I want to talk about your defense. Peyton, it seemed like games I was at, she stepped up big. Goalie out of the net. She, the one game she came out of nowhere and cleared the ball out. The other team had a wide open shot. She's a senior, right?
Junior.
Oh, junior. Oh, so she's coming back. So that, that's a key part. But who's graduating? Your
Lexi Covell was our outside back.
Your outside backs are graduating. Who do you think you have somebody that's ready to fill in? For that starting.
Yeah, and while we're talking about our backs too, Danny Murat played a first-year starter. Played great in the back with her and Peyton. Peyton's speed helped us out so much. Danny wasn't the fastest player in the world, but she did a great job of marking ball. Our defense, we worried about in the beginning of the season, and I gave them a lot of grief, and I was on them all the time, and they really stepped up. We had 8 shutouts this season, so they really stepped up and did a great job. And my kids that subbed in, Jules Fusco and Ashley Schlagenhalf subbed in the back, and they'll slide. Mia is our outside back, so she'll slide in the middle most likely next year. And Jules and Ashley will play on the outside back. So we're confident that we have our players that subbed off the bench this year did a great job. So that gives us a whole lot of confidence for next year.
You thought you had 8 shutouts. Abby is senior in net. What does it mean having a senior goalie? I see that a little more confident. They don't get as rattled as much as underclassmen. What do you mean having a leader like that in the back?
Yeah, Abby had a great year this year. Like I said, 7 shutouts, and she comes out fantastic. She's technically very clean, and she was a leader. When you talk about all the goalkeepers at the Shore, you don't talk about Abby. And I think I'm not saying she's a premier goalkeeper at the Shore, but she's a damn good goalkeeper, and she had a great season, and she was great for us. And all that being said, too, Haley, we're confident with her going to the goal next year. She played a few games for us last year as a backup. So, we were very comfortable with our goalie situation this year. Even if Abby went down, we were confident in Haley. So, our defenders and our goalkeepers really stepped up this year because it was definitely an area of concern. I knew we were finally going to score goals this year, and I knew I think we have one of the best midfields at the Shore, and they're all coming back. Yeah. So I was confident in those 2 areas. And if I'm 100% honest, I wasn't confident in our back line and our keeper stepping up, and they did 100%.
I'm talking about midfield. One girl that played midfield, freshman Brooke, who I had on my all freshman team. I was just so impressed, when she was on the field, her ball control and setting things up. You see her bigger role next season?
Yeah, well, I think Brooke is tough as nails. First of all, like she's bringing it every day, and she's knocking you on your butt. You're going to go in for a tackle, you're going to get hit hard. Both the D'Almeida sisters are so tough. Emily knocks the ball around real well. She's a skilled player. All 3 of them, I really think we have next year we could potentially have the best midfield at the Shore. The three of them all step up. Gabby Hernandez comes in and gives them a break. Our midfield is solid, more than solid. Yeah. We have three excellent players there.
Yeah, that, getting, the future, and, not a lot of teams have the well balanced where, a few seniors, few juniors, that you have people that make impact from each grade class. A lot of schools, they have one class, and then once that class leaves, especially from public schools, sometimes it goes in waves. I just want to go through your schedule real quick. Now, when I was looking through it, the only team that you lost to non-top 10 was Jackson Memorial, and they were on. They were starting to peak at that particular time of the year. What's that say about the team, winning every game? A lot of teams, they're losing in that they should have won, but your team, closed out every game you're supposed to win, and you brought it, you took Rumson to the limit. You play, even though the score doesn't reflect it, you played Toms River North, pretty well, from what I heard from neutral people said the first half you guys looked very, very good against Toms River North. What's that say about your team, basically, pretty consistent throughout the full year?
Yeah, 100%. We talked about this a lot in the preseason and during the season about not giving games away. Like, we have to be prepared to come and play every single game, and we haven't done that in the past. Last year, we're 5-9. We give away 2 games that we thought we gave away. You change those 2 games, we're now 7-7. Like, it's a big difference. We talked about how, Toms River North doesn't come in here, and when the years we were bad, we never beat them because they come in ready to play every game. And we talked about being a top-level team and being prepared to play every game. Did that happen every single game? No, but it was a lot more consistent than it's been the past years. Like I said, and we put heavy emphasis on that, like not underestimating anybody and being prepared to play.
The Shore Regional, they were the higher seed, but I'm pretty sure I picked you guys to win that game. I have to go back to my tweets.
Yeah, you did.
I was pretty confident. And Shore Regional, very good team. What did it mean, getting, technically it's an upset, getting that upset in the Shore Conference, and I bet that was a big confidence boost.
Yeah, and you know what? And just to win a big game that's tight in overtime, like, every kid deserves that in high school. You know what I mean? The run to the extra time ball, and we score and you go crazy. Our boys team they're going nuts. And just obviously from a confident standpoint, that was huge, but also just from a high school memory and an emotional part, I wanted our kids to experience something like that. And it was, and Shore was a good team, and we were confident. Like, I knew we may not be a top 4 team at the Shore, but I knew we were like right there. Like, were we at 10? I didn't believe that, but I knew we were right behind those top teams.
I want to touch a little, you have a lot of traditions at Brick Memorial. Talk a little bit about the legacy brick and what does it mean getting your seniors to sign that when their official career's over.
Yeah, it's a fun thing we do. At the end of the season, and I started this probably about 2 years into my head coaching gig, and so I went and I actually wrote the first 2 years all the kids' names on the block, and then if they were able to come back, they did, which a lot of them did. And then after that, though, each kid gets a block in my office, and they, you put whatever you want on it. Your name, your number, and whatever saying, mostly sayings or mottos that they felt. And it's really cool, especially now that it's been so long. Like, in the beginning, it was, you look at it like, oh, that's fun. But now that it's been 28 years and you look, and we're on our second wall, and we're almost filling in our second wall, and my big worry is now, like, what do I take down in my office?
I was going to ask that. You have to be running out of room soon.
Yeah, we're on. It's a pretty decent sized office, so we're on the second wall. The third wall, I got to start taking down like I have newspaper articles up from like all the championship teams. I don't even think the kids know what a newspaper is. So, but it's a really cool thing that we do, and like my coaches have a wall. Like, my kids see my coach's name up on the wall, and they see these ladies come with kids, and like, oh, that's her block. And there's a teacher in the middle school where I teach, and like I was like, oh, see, that's that's her block on the wall. So it's just sometimes I got a good idea every once in a while. For that, I probably have 20 stupid ideas, but every once in a while I come up with a good one.
Next thing I want to, a lot of games you have, the young the club players, the young, the young kids from Bricktown. What does it mean getting the youth programs involved, having them show up to the games, for the future? Because, I talk with, the Brick Township basketball girls coach Kevin, and his thing is trying to get more involved with the youth to start building the basketball programs in Brick. And soccer in Brick has always been a pretty healthy sport in Brick. So what does it mean, keeping those ties and getting them to the games?
Yeah, when I first started, I did it a lot, and then because I wanted the kids to be excited about someday coming from Brick World. And then, to be honest with you, when we were winning championships, I got a little lazy because everybody wanted to be a part of what we were doing, So I didn't have to go out there and pound the pavement and try to get the younger kids interested in what we did. So within recent years, and us struggling now, like the last few years, I've tried to get back more involved in getting these kids to come out and be ball runners and be excited about, so like I want to play. My goal when I first started was for every kid to dream to come out to We Will Rock You. Like how the rest was at Brick Memorial, they dream someday these little kids are running out the Sympathy of the Devil. Like that was what I wanted for these little kids, to make it something they wanted to be at.
So going forward, we talked about, a lot of players. What obviously the expectations are going to be set higher next year. What do you think the end goals are going to be? Knock off Toms River North?
Are we there yet? I don't know, but I guess we'll have a better idea come, September, come July. We set our goals yesterday. We won 10. Our goal was only 10 wins this year. We set that a little bit higher. I'm going to keep my numbers to myself right now. But the big one we set, and like unfinished business, we want to win a sectional. We want to win because and this is probably a little maybe selfish and bragging on our part, but we felt we were the best team in Central Jersey Group 3 this year. So, and we felt we could play with, at that point, anybody in the state the way we're playing. And that's our main goal next year. We want to take some sectional hardware back.
I would have enjoyed Brick Memorial Lacey tomorrow.
I can't tell you how much I would have also enjoyed that. And good for Lacey. That's great.
Yeah, I saw them a couple times. They're a fun team. They're a fun team to watch. He's got a good, and he, like your team, he has a well balanced seniors down to freshmen. He has they're gonna be up there again next year. Both your teams will be in the top 10 next year, I'm sure. You feel like giving any predictions for tomorrow? Have you got to see Freehill play?
We scrimmage Freehill. Freehill. It was 3-1 with about 20 minutes left, let's say, and then we'll say it wasn't 3-1 anymore. I honestly don't know. That game is at Field, right?
It's at North.
It's at North. That's right.
Yeah.
The girls.
Yeah, I don't get that, why they changed that. It's always been neutral, right?
Yeah. I don't understand that either.
I know they're blaming because 2 years ago the storms were coming and it ruined everything. But I don't understand how that affects finding a high school, and
especially since you're playing like the second biggest game of the year on. I mean, you can ask Jack; he knows his field's horrible, but I'm sure he'd much rather play at home.
Yeah, and it was very thin, like narrow.
Yeah, but you're playing, and it's all chewed up. But again, believe me, I'd rather play a field on my chewed up, dirty swamp of a field in the sectional semifinals. As a coach, that's what I would love. But I think it should be at a neutral field on a likely turf.
Yeah, because I was always confused. Like 2 years ago, even the sectional finals were at the higher seeds. But in the non-publics, the sectional finals were at a neutral field, because I remember going to Homedale to watch St. Rose play. When they played Trinity Hall. So I was confused why the non-public finals were at neutral, and I don't know. It's tough. I do feel bad for Coach Patterson, number one team in the state, ranked nationally, and they're going on the road.
Yeah. John DiCarlo is a good friend of mine in Homedale too, and I was talking to him yesterday. He's like, we have whatever they are, 17-2, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And we're going to a team that's 14-7.
Hatfield. Yeah.
But the principal at the school he's going to was actually an ex-player of mine.
Okay.
And John played for me. John coached for me. So it all comes full circle. Yes.
Yeah, I was talking to him texted him a couple of days ago because I didn't even know who he was playing. I was just trying to get the times of the games. So All right, Coach. I thank you for taking time out today, and
Thanks.
I'm already doing a countdown for September.
You and me
So
both. You and
yeah.
me both.
So, but good luck. Stay healthy, and I'll keep in touch.
Thanks for having me. And you know what? I don't want to thank you too, probably much on behalf of all the short coaches. It's awesome that you do this and you do a great job. And it's, I'm not gonna lie, when I used to get up and look in the Observer, the scores in the morning, I get up and look for my Nick Lowe tweets. You do an awesome job, and I think we're all coaches really appreciative. Someone cares about girls soccer.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Soccer is passion of mine, since I was a little kid. So
Me too.
Yep. So, Coach, thank you.
All right, thanks again, Nick.